What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Mr. MKL here. We are hanging out. Actually, it's Servbot here. Hello, everyone. Hope it's going well. We're chilling. It's Thursday. Hoo boy. Long week as always. And it's only Thursday. We're hanging in there though, right, kids? And we are gonna relax a little. We can chat and we can play some Kingdom Hearts. We got some decisions to make, don't we? We do. We do indeed have some decisions to make today. Oh man, okay, so we have found ourselves in the alley to between. Alright, so I have apparently kicked off. I don't think I've kicked off the like end game proper. We have not hit the point of no return. But I think we are fast approaching it, and I am vastly underleveled for what we are about to encounter. Nope, there you go. Sorry, my mic wouldn't unmute for a second. So yeah, I guess the king went up ahead. Not that I'm nervous, but I'm glad we can go back to Twilight Town anytime. So yeah, definitely have not hit the point of no return. But we are making our way to, I guess, the alternate Twilight Town. And we are gonna, that is going to lead to it, is my understanding. What's up, Guardian? Yeah, I've actually really been enjoying the Here's My Game and the 3 games that inspired it. That has been a fun little trend going around Twitter. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do though? I'm gonna go back to the world map. We have some leveling to do. Right, yeah, I know, there's a ton of really cool games that are, you know, that are just like getting thrown about, getting some extra traction again. I think a lot of the games that have maybe, I don't know, not fallen by the wayside, but have like cooled down on some of their marketing and their social outreach, and are just kind of like, the developers are in grind mode. They're trying to get their games made, right? But it's like when you don't have like someone in charge of that, it can start slipping away. So it's been a great opportunity to see some of these games come back into the spotlight, right? What's your favorite been? I'm curious. What is your like the one that you saw that you were like, oh dang, I gotta check that one out? And as you maybe think that one over, yeah, okay, so we're going back to the Pride Lands here in Kingdom Hearts because I need to do some leveling. This is one of the locations that was recommended, so we're gonna do the second run. Hopefully catch up.
It's not that bad. I enjoyed that weak dead elephant we had yesterday.
Hey, how's Simba?
Games inspired by some of the iconic SNES and 64 games. There has been a slew of N64 inspired games that have come out. I feel like in the wake of Yooka-Laylee and kind of, I mean, like, I haven't played Yooka-Laylee, so I'm not gonna pass judgment on the game, but I think it's fair to say that some people were maybe not as, maybe a little disappointed, not as happy as they were expecting to be, or not as, you know, into it as they expected to be. But you've seen a handful of them come out, in either in like the PSX or the N64 style. Like Pseudo Regalia is a really good example of that. There's a what is it? Corn Kids 64. That's another one. It's like, yeah, the low poly new wave. And it is, you're right, you're absolutely right, Guardian. It is the natural progression of the nostalgia bait stuff, right? Where, I mean, nostalgia bait, of just the nostalgia creator, right? It's creators of a certain age now that they're making things that inspired them when they were younger. And for a long time, it was the pixel art stuff, right? That was the throwback. But now it's the 3D retro. God, what was it like? It was like fucking Peter Gabriel or something like that. I don't know. Someone said that. Some musician said something to the effect of, every time, whatever it is that you find unpleasant about a modern medium is going to become the thing that people become nostalgic for and start creating new and interesting art out of, right? The bleeps and bloops of chiptunes and the like, basically like the limited palette and the insufficient palette of musical creators, right, that they had at the time, and then now that palette has grown to become much broader, right? But people go back to chiptunes and make interesting music through it. So, right, it happened with the static of VHS, and I mean, I'm going through it right now. That's a big like VHS and CRT TVs. That's my kind of thing. I've been getting really into the video synthesis stuff, and exploring video synthesis as an art form is really interesting. So it is, there's something about the and for video synthesis, it's really cool because so much of it is the physicality of it, which is really interesting. Like, if you check out my Twitter, I post a bunch of this like stuff, synthesized and displayed on a CRT TV, and you can do a lot of that completely digitally and just in After Effects or in Premiere and in Photoshop. You can generate those things purely digitally. But there's something about the physicality of running a video signal through multiple sources and, like physically splitting out the sync signal from a video signal and then running that sync through another video to create interesting variations is fascinating. Like I said, the physicality of that, where you are making those actual connections and you are changing something in the real world to generate that. I don't know. It's fascinating. I think that's where some of the love for that kind of stuff comes from, right? It is the big chonky dials that we turned clunk on our CRT TVs growing up, right? And these days it's the nostalgia of PlayStation. Yeah, new age of shonen authors are inspired by the previous greats. Absolutely, absolutely. I saw an interesting video actually recently that was about like the philosophy of modern art and the idea that so much of our modern art is processed through the lens of previous art that there's losing some level of originality in some ways. And I think it's a little unfair to modern art to say that. Even right, but like this extends. They were even like criticizing pop art of the Andy Warhol variety, that as a thing that like, right? It's that reuse and recycling and remixing without creating something, right? Without, I don't know. They think there's something lost in there. I don't know, it's an interesting thought at least. Yo, Dove, what's going on?
That doesn't concern you.
Yo, Guardian, the new age retro consoles to work on actual old consoles is freaking delightful. Super Tilt Bros, or Super Tilt Brothers for the NES. It's a NES platform brawler that has a Wi-Fi chip built into the actual physical NES cartridge so that you can play online and that you can get updates to the game. Freaking dope.
Not what your father would have done.
Grab saying, would it be possible to have a stream dedicated to showing creating digital synthesis stuff? It seems pretty interesting, but you have no idea what's going on when you post the results. Yeah, I would love to, absolutely. That is something I've been contemplating. Right now, I have I'm waiting for a toy to arrive, a tool, I guess, a video synthesis tool, something called the Mismatcher, and it is something designed to allow you to strip and reroute various video signals and sync signals in interesting ways. So I really, really, really want to get into that, and I definitely want to show that off. But even currently, the stuff that I'm doing with cathodimer is really cool, and it is like a halfway point between, you know, just doing something digitally in After Effects and the physicality of the signals, which I find super fun. I'd be happy to go through it. I'm glad that sounds interesting to folks. I sometimes I think, like, it's funny, like I started posting the video synthesis stuff, and I was like, I don't know if anyone's gonna give a shit about this, right? I'm like, I don't know if people think this is interesting. I certainly do, and that's why I kind of do any of the things that I do around here, is because I think they're kind of cool. But no, I'm glad that that people dig it. And yeah, Dove, the Super Tilt Brothers is really cool. Okay, we gotta find Rafiki. There's some... Oh, what is... I guess what's another one? I mean, for fighting games, more recently there was Insane Pain, which is a Genesis. I hate this stuff. I figured he'd just be up here waiting to throw someone off the cliff. Okay. Come on, Rafiki. Where'd you go? But yeah, right, a cartridge with Wi-Fi. There's been a lot of really interesting things happening. I mean, between the world of FPGA for like hardware, like physical hardware emulation, right? There is a whole ton of new like boards being built, right? Like cartridge boards. Things with like custom mappers that will do things that the Famicom did that the NES didn't, right? It is a wild world in like homebrew development, basically. And yeah, I don't know, man. Dude, I'm not even level 40. Yeah, I'm gonna have some problems, aren't I? Oh, Barabari Ball? Now you need to buy Sports Friends. Damn. Yeah, that takes me back. Yeah, absolutely. The degree of customization with FPGA, it is kind of wild, right? But yeah, no, there's been like in the last, I guess it was, oh man, maybe it was almost like 10 years ago now. There's someone came out with NES Maker, which is a like what you see is what you get editor for the NES, and they also kickstarted basically a development kit that came with like a blank cartridge and a USB to NES cart burner, basically, so you could like plug in a cart, and they built their own custom chip for the cartridge, and then I think they have just released a new version that's expanding on it, because initially the build for their software was like very much an MMC1, like a bare bones NES cart, right? And then they have increased support, is my understanding, for like for functionality that is like on the more advanced mapper chips. Gonna get bigger. Well, I mean, I don't know how it's happening, but I just heard that there's a $100 Mr. clone that is coming out. Like, some company has managed to basically build a Mr. chip in the like around $100 range, which is wild if true, because like my big thing right now is that I don't see enough of a value in investing in a Mr. over a competent mini PC, just because I don't mind the emulation. So I like the increased accuracy of the FPGA is not my biggest concern. It's really price point, right? And I get the form factor benefits out of like a mini PC. So, but man, at $100, at $200, I'm like, but man, it's hard to justify, right? Because like I've looked at, like, especially if you get like a decked out Mr. setup, it can be in like the $700 to $800 range, and that's like US often, right? Like for us freaking unfortunate Canadians with the horrible exchange rate, we're looking at $1,000+ for a Mr. Right? But there has been such an explosion in the space that I'm not surprised that hardware manufacturers are like figuring it out and finding chipset and finding builds and improving on their builds so that they can actually produce highly affordable stuff. Yeah, Elephant Graveyard. Here we go.
Whoa.
Come on. Can't you guys just leave us alone? Do you three know anything about Scar's ghost?
Oh yeah, it is absolute black magic, right?
Scar's ghost.
Maybe.
You do know.
Oh, it is great. Yeah, no, it is absolutely great. If you run retro tournaments, if you're running mystery, but like I said, once again, I mean, it's funny. I did the calculation, and I was like, mini PC, because for me, the mini PC opens up. Not only do I get the like Fightcade library basically, but also a whole slew of Mugen and 2D Fighter Maker, which is so much of the stuff that like I interact with that, yeah, it's like it's hard to miss out on that, right? So like, yeah, the extra price point for like the more limited set of options is kind of, it's like, that's the deciding factor for me, right? But I would love it, because you're right, it is great. Polar Bear ran, or I think it was Polar Bear used it for the Sailor Moon S tournament at CEC. I believe that's what we played it on instead of an actual SNES. Ah, no! I clipped. And it was great. Like, it felt great. It was easy to even swap between from, like... Oh, dang. Yeah, like, for the communities that really want to run the original hardware, then for sure, that's a huge thing. Come on, Goofy. Oh, you're too slow. You can't catch up. Oh, gonna come around the bend. There you go. Keep it up, boys. Oh. Dang it. You were nowhere near them. Why did I do that? There we go. Because I got the wild thing. Or whatever. High thing. Having to deal with jam super guns, even worse, arcade caps, huge hassle. Absolutely. And I think the, like that was it. The ST folks were a big push for Mr., right? Because a lot of those guys they do run it on Supergun. They usually bring the Superguns to tournaments as well, but I think Mr. is like the most accessible or the most acceptable alternative for that group. So yeah. Yo, Simba, where'd you take him? Fucking send him into space. I don't know if this is gonna take them out. Oh, sweet, it did. Okay. Where's the third? Where'd you go? Where'd you go, my dude? There you are. Oh. Ooh, Goofy, come on, yes. Oh, you clipped him. I saw it. You got your Neo Geo setup ready to put it into a super gun? I am jealous, man. I should have... Oh, fuck. I feel so dumb. I didn't buy a Neo Geo 4-slot because I thought that the, like, $120 plus shipping was too much, and now I really regret it. But that's it. Yeah, for the same price as, like, consoleizing an MVS would cost you, you'd be able to just buy a Mister. That is absolutely. And then you're looking at a significantly better, right, like, selection of games available to you. Yo, I swear this guy, he's given extra speed. Oh, come on. There we go.
Oh no! Guess you caught us all.
What are we gonna do?
Tell me about Scar's ghost.
Oh, really? Yeah, is there actually some preference for the consistency of Mister? It is.
The one that only hangs out around Frady cats. Right, Bonsai?
Enough.
Right? Oh, yeah, and there is like, well, there is like Mister has its own set of like hardware requirements and knowledge that you need. It is a way lower bar of entry than it is managing a super gun or a consoleized MVS or something like that. It's
After all, you are the son of
yeah, controller compatibility on super gun setups long been an issue. They were dealing with that. Yeah, even at Toryuken, right? Even for a small event with you know, a group who knew what they were doing, and it's still, right?
Gosh, Rafiki was right.
You mean Simba's still unsure?
Seems like. Do you think there's some way we can help?
We should start by talking to Simba some more. Let's head back to the Pride Lands.
But yeah, no, man, I would love to get one of the big red Neo Geo cabs. Oh man, that would be delightful. All right. Off to the Oasis. My tiny little dude. So I guess I'm going out to the savannah. Alright, might as well pick up some experience while I'm at it. That's partly what I'm doing here in the Pride Lands, right? Alright. Oh yeah, yo, we got Toryuken coming up. It's just talking CECC is our, I guess, mini regional, if you want to call it that. I don't even know how the hell you classify. Dude, how do we classify tournaments anymore? Guys, this is like, okay, so when I brought up the like, oh, what can we do a niche fighter major, right? That conversation was really hilarious. First of all, it was really enlightening. It was really interesting to see people bring up a lot of events who do kind of what I was thinking of, right? Much of what I was thinking of at the very least. If a little bit more hyper-specific, right? Like, a lot of the games that they focused on were, it was like, if you're a fan of Melty Blood, right? Or the Vampire series, you have some places that do kind of like niche fighting majors. But I think a lot of people missed the forest for the trees in that conversation, and yeah, like, I think a lot of it was, we don't know what the hell a scale of fighting game event means anymore. Where, like, if you think back to, even when things kind of, like, picked up in the fighting game community after, you know, the quote-unquote Dark Ages, right, in the 2009, post-2009 era, there was a sense of, you had your locals, right? You might have a monthly for that city. Maybe people from like adjacent cities would attend. Then you had regionals, which might bring in people from out of province, or maybe even like close enough for like if you're in southern Canada, or like, yeah, southern Canada here, you can get people from the northern US, right? And then you had your like majors, and realistically, like the scale of major was, like, there were only really a handful of events, and over the, like, whatever, 15, 20 years since then, there are way more of them, right? And a lot of the ones, like, a lot of the events that have been around for 15 years are still at the same size that they were 15 years ago, because that's just where they are, and that's where they want to be, and that's amazing. Others have grown, like Combo Breaker. And now, Combo Breaker is an event that's a major that's basically the size of EVO, right? And those are events on a scale unheard of for majors 15 years ago. So, are they super majors now? Does now a tier of, like, mini majors become the majors? What does that make regionals, right? Like, so this whole idea, like, what the hell even is a tournament? Yeah, the class of tourneys are off, and it's been off for a while. It absolutely has been. And it's something that, like, people will bring it up every now and again, right? Like, you will occasionally get the, like, dude, like, EVO is not a major anymore. It's so much bigger than that. And yeah, for sure. And even, like, people will acknowledge the growth of some of these tournaments being, like, they're not the same as they used to be. But, like, yeah, that conversation of, like, what does it mean? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, locals and monthlies have changed. Regional, you're right. Regionals have lost me. The regionals do not exist. Like, what were the regionals have just basically become majors. Your regional Grav has hit 200 competitors. We got more competitors this year, but feels like fewer spectators and fewer vendors. Third year running it, so weird growing pains. That's interesting. Having hit, like, yeah, an increase in attendance from competitors, but less of an interest from the outside or the more casual fare. Right? And honestly, part of that might be it's how worth it is it to you as a vendor or as a spectator to go to a smaller regional when it's not going to be much more expensive probably to go to a slightly bigger major. Like, I'm curious, like, what is Grav? What is the what is like entry fee? What is venue fee for your regional there? And also, what is the name of the regional, if you don't mind my asking? Yeah, Fight Kingdom. Okay, it's $50 for competitors, $20 for spectators, right? So yeah, I think you could probably end up $10 a game for entry. Yeah, so I think that's probably common for a lot of the majors / regionals, is that $50 to $80 is usually maybe $40 for some of the smaller ones, and also for like early bird reg.
But Simba...
Right? But yeah, say 40 to 80 and then $10 a game. So, right, as a spectator saying, especially if you're going to drive to one or the other, saying I'm going to drive to Combo Breaker versus drive to whatever else, and then pay the extra $30 and get the Combo Breaker experience is, right, like, I think that's might be why. And, like, the competitors, competitively, the scenes have never been bigger. There are more people playing more games than ever. Right? And that's being reflected in the competitor base, but not necessarily in the other ones.
The hesitant king will one day lose all his friends.
Worried by a silly old ghost.
Ooh, Simba, the do-nothing king.
No!
Try and stop me.
Yeah, that also very fair point, Grav. That yeah, the post-pandemic surge of excitement for vendors and artists being able to get back into it, but now being hit with inflation, it's harder to get people out. So yeah, once again, you end up having to pick and choose, right? And say, I can't do 4 events. I have to choose 1 or 2. That's gonna impact it. But you're right, and Dove, like, yeah, competitors are, like, relatively easy to come by. I mean, a lot of the time it's, if you put an event in front of the player's face, oftentimes they'll come out for it, right? It's not that easy, like, no shade to event organizers. I know how hard that shit is, like, but compared to the outside interest, the vendors, the sponsors, the fans, the viewers, the spectators, those are all a big part of it. They're a big part of not only making this shit more sustainable, but also a part of the experience. Like, I want to go and hear people cheer. And if it, like, I've seen audiences that are just competitors, and they're not as fun as audiences that are competitors and fans, right?
All grown up and finding his place in the world.
Nice try. You're coming too.
Yeah, May in the Northwest. There's the anime and comic convention around then. It's hard to compete. Yeah, I think fighting with the other events, and okay, and this also feeds into what even is a major, what even is a regional, is that so many of the bigger events are turning into, and I don't even say this derogatorily, but are turning into convention style events, right? Because being able to hit sustainability means you need a broader range of, you know, attendees. And oftentimes that means not only, you know, making things that appeal to the competitor, it's making things that appeal to,
Way to go, Simba!
right? It's making things that appeal to, yeah, those other attendees, the ones who want the artists, who want the cosplay shows. Okay, and that's also fair. Yeah, there is a discrepancy in the communities where, yeah, I think, and actually that's a really good point. Like even talking about like events like the Sajam Tekken event that he did, the Sajam Slam, right? They're doing a second Sajam Slam now, also for Tekken. People were asking, hey man, why isn't it for this or that or the other game? And it's like, people want to play Tekken. So yeah, it's true. If you throw a Tekken tournament, people are going to come out for it, right? Not necessarily for those other things, right? But I mean, that I think is more critical mass of players than anything else. Like, yeah, you know as well as I do, that shit ain't cheap. No, it's true. It's true. Yo, are you kidding? It was wild. So, and I think this is actually a really important thing. I hope I should take a deeper look at the Sajam stuff. I would love to fucking talk to him about this, because the Sajam Slam stuff, he said that it cost him about $15,000 to put on the first Sajam Slam, and he did it without any sponsors. He paid out of pocket, and that for the second one, he got sponsors for it. And he's paying for a trip to Evo for people, for the winners. And then he's also basically said the sponsorships will cover the cost of the first event and the second event. So we're looking at like $30,000 plus prizes in sponsorships for the Sajam Slams event. And just in terms of scale of what you can do with an event, yes, with a personality like Sajam, of course, but what is achievable within the realm of a single individual deciding to use their resources? This is the kind of thing. So the Sajam Slam, it was a team tournament that Sajam put on for Tekken, where you had coaches, and then you had teams under them, and they had to be under a certain rank. They wanted to be like a broad selection of relatively new players, and they had a bunch of these players stream the game and practice it over time, and then have like a lead up to a round robin event, and then a team tournament, like a final team tournament finals. So super interesting, like dynamic, right? Where you have the coaches, you have people training, you have the lead up to it. There's a lot to really love about that kind of stuff, but it's an interesting production, and they're seeming to really expand on it this year, right? Or not even this year. It was not that long ago. It was only a couple months ago, I think, was the first one, and they're already going into the second one. So, but yeah, you think of that, right? So $15,000 to pull in your commentators, to pay for, I'm assuming he paid the contestants like an appearance fee, paying for any of the promotion, paying for the graphics, paying for yada yada yada, right? Spent $15K on it. And then the whatever prizes he gave away. I'm not even sure what the prizes for the first one were. And then making up for that plus the second one in sponsors, and it'll be really interesting to see how who is sponsoring, what form that takes, and I mean, because is that achievable by someone who is not an individual of such good repute and influence as our friend Sajam? A lot of the major runners looking into convention stuff because it keeps more stuff going to the event that isn't just gaming. Yeah, at a certain point you need to host a convention to get the majors numbers. Absolutely. Now, and this is... Thank you, guys. You're bringing it all back around, right? So, what is a major? What is a regional? We've kind of lost sight of that in many ways, and because like our events are starting to the spread of events is skewed at this point, right? So, the question is, do you need to be that big? One of the most interesting things that was brought up in the niche fighting major discussion was an event that Polar Bear pointed out, a Japanese indie gaming niche fighter event. And it they had a ton of interesting niche fighting games and indie fighting games there. And where do I have to hit this guy? There we go. Right, and so, but this was like it was billed as a major. And what I find really interesting is it was billed as a major, and then brackets were capped to like 32 players. So, when you, right, like, when I think that was part of some people I think were a little incredulous when I said niche fighting game major. Yeah, 32 players, man. Right, and it was like, I think they have like 8 or 12 games at the event. It looks like it was a small venue, like a cafe, an interesting bar, and 32 players, why not? And so what is, right? I think that's like what I said. Some people were incredulous because they saw me say major and said, oh, you want 2,500 people playing Karnov, right? And I'm like, no, that is never what I was insinuating. But I think we are so far off on the scale of what is possible with these events that we're that it shouldn't surprise me that someone was like, no, that they didn't get what I was saying, because we were working from different definitions of what a major or a regional could possibly be. Yeah, from the core of the giant head. How the hell do I get up there now, guys? Guess I could just do that. You have no idea how much it bugs you. Right, so yeah, 32. So right, like, would you consider a 32 player bracket a major? Right, maybe, maybe not. For a niche fighting game, I think that is totally reasonable, right? So I think it's important to remember scale for, like, scale and context, I think is important. But yeah, it bugs you that the folks called NorCal and SoCal regionals majors. It's like, is it really? I mean, it's in the name. It's a regional. Oh, come on. You just go right through him. He's not gonna... Is there no way to climb up on this guy? Ah, here we go. Here we go. something you notice? Is it you or there isn't a focus on new players today? I think, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think a lot of events, especially as whoa, I just like hurtled right over top. Okay. I think a lot of events, especially established events, might have like basically said, you know what, this is. Oh, I'm gonna die, aren't I? Ah. Yeah, I think some of the more established events might have just decided, hey, we have our player base, and that's who we're catering to. And so at that point, drawing in and appealing, damn it, I'm just poorly timing this. Drawing in and appealing to that newer base is less of their concern, and it's like, if we get them, great. Ow. 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 Please stop that. My dude. Thank you. Thank you. But yo, it's hard to appeal to new players, right? Like take a moment and think back to you being a new player. And I'm not talking like new to fighting games. I'm not even necessarily talking about you going to an arcade. I'm talking about the modern FGC. Let's talk about fighting games post 2009. Like, if you didn't go to tournaments regularly before that, it is hard to imagine, right? And it's hard to remember how awkward it could be going into those spaces. How, like, I didn't join a team tournament for the longest time because I didn't think I was, like, good enough to, like, have the right, right? Yeah, I know, Dub. So, like, right? But, like, even that's it. Like, I remember the first, like, tournament I went to in an arcade where I, like, had to, like, fucking put up money for a bracket. And I had no idea what was going on. And I played in that tournament and I didn't know how the bracket ran, right? And I remember, like, when I was like, no, I'm gonna go to tournaments for Street Fighter 4. I literally, and I have no shame in saying this, I had to go and look up the rules for a double elimination tournament, and I studied, and I actually wrote little notes to remind myself how the, like, double elimination format worked, because I didn't want to be one of those people who lost once and walked away and didn't realize there was a loser's bracket, right? I didn't want to be that dude who didn't know what the hell was going on at the venue. And I was not, like, a child when I did this, guys. Like, right? So, like, even for grown-ass adults, man, entering new spaces is awkward. Meeting new people is awkward. Doing new things is, like, it can be tough, right? So, when you think about new players, how do you bring them in, man? Like, what is the kind of thing? Some of the, like, traditionally not competitive players that I've spoken to, oh god, Atlantica. Some of those guys, some of them have suggested things like the mystery tournaments, and I've brought this up before, that a mystery tournament was the thing that got them into understanding how brackets work. It's fine if they mucked up, you know, in a mystery tournament because it was all for a lark anyways. They had no idea what they were doing anyways. So, right? Low stakes, man. Like, how do we generate interesting, low stakes events that people can play in? Yeah, Dove. The time in the arcade was kind of wild, right? Like, I think the height of me going to them was probably like X-Men versus Street Fighter up through Third Strike, right? I definitely had like a local shop with like a Street Fighter 2 cab, like just a corner store or something like that. But yeah, no, for me it was definitely that X-Men versus that late 90s into like Third Strike era, where it was just game after game after game after game. No, exactly. You're talking earlier than that, right? So yeah, I didn't have the regular. I was not into fighting games enough at that point, I don't think. Yeah, it was a little bit later. It was like 98, 99, I guess, by the time, cuz like yeah, getting into like high school. Yeah, man, have me with the shooters. That's for damn sure. Point blank. So yeah, Fight Kingdom, you said, does a Price is Right thing where you guess combo damage and then play a mystery game. That sounds interesting. Yo, I would like to hear a little bit more about that. Sounds kind of funky. Yeah, Dove, right? But that's the thing, low stakes. So, like, we've talked about how some of the low stakes nature of mystery is definitely a benefit. People around here have mentioned things like combo judging and combo challenges. Like, if you're at a making people do, even if you're not, as I was just gonna say, if you're at a Smash or a platform fighter event, but like even if it's not, man, make people do smash the targets. Like, okay, I gotta approach the people, man. I have a book full of ideas from the Niche Fighter Fett that didn't quite get built into something, and I think it's time I build that into something. Grav, I might need to pick your brain a little bit. I might hit you up on the Discord, and I might have to pick your brain a little bit, because we should try something. We should try something here in the digital basement where we try to create. Can we create an interesting low stakes format, something that could work at a regional mini major? I don't even know. Man, we need some better terms. It's starting to hurt poor Servbot's head. Nice. Okay, Fight is Right. Day 1 of Fight Kingdom. I'm surprised that I hadn't heard of this, especially after the explosion. Like, there was, for a while there, a couple years ago, J.M. Crofts was doing the Jeopardy, right? Fighting game Jeopardy, and I'm surprised that didn't take off into more things. But I will admit, having thought about and tried to have created like game show things, like we did a quiz show a trivia show at the Niche Fighter Fett, and it's hard, man. It is hard. It is a lot of work making those things. Even once you have the ideas, man, making them into like a tangible thing that you can present to someone that they could answer, that an audience can watch, that is difficult. That is freaking difficult. And that's just making the resources that you need to actually do it. Then you still got to do it. Right? Yeah. So I'm sure there are some things about the format. And this is it. I think this is why some of these ideas ended up on the cutting room floor for the Niche Fighter Fett, is that I didn't have enough time to like work out those kinks, where every time I ran through it, I was like, this doesn't quite gel in the way that I want it to, right? And so yeah, the format wasn't quite there, and I don't want to give something half baked. I don't want to put something half baked out there, but I also don't want to end up not doing anything with like a more low stakes, casual kind of fighting game experience, right? Yeah, there's a lot of really cool things, and I guarantee you he stopped doing it because it got really freaking hard. It was getting to the, I guarantee you it was just getting to the point where finding interesting questions that can reasonably be answered, right? And then putting them together and building out that format. Even once you have the template of it all set up, right? It's still a lot of pre-production, and the production is also way more involved than a lot of the like talking segments that you would otherwise have. Yeah, he doesn't do it because it's difficult to pull off and the expectations are way too high. Abso-fucking-lutely. And I fear for the Will It Kill. Sajam's Will It Kill is the exact same way. It's a really interesting, it's low stakes, that like it's super entertaining for both competitive players and casual players and like non-players. So, but it's also the thing that takes a lot of freaking work. Like, Sajam's talked about how much work it takes to put together Will It Kill, and yeah, I guarantee you the Jeopardy stuff is the same way. The Fight is Right is probably the same way. And yeah, having that combined with really high expectations, and like, and when you mess it up, it's like it can really be boring. Like if you've never seen a like quiz show or a pub trivia night fizzle and fail, oh man, it can do so in hilarious ways. And then the contestants, and then you have to rely, that's it, and it's like, you have to rely on the contestants. You need a good selection of contestants, you need to run them through, right? Like, it's tough, man. There's a lot of variables, and you're right, it's genuinely risky for someone like J.M. Crofts, whose viewer count's really high, right? So, do you risk, and yeah, and this is one of the ultimate pitfalls, right, of any kind of attention economy art, is that you have to make that call of, do I risk doing the potentially really good but really interesting thing, but if I fail, it might actually hurt all the other stuff that is otherwise liked regardless. Yeah, that's a risky bet, man. Like, yeah, and that's it. You're right. That is really ironic. It did, because it helped him. It definitely helped blow him up in the wider FGC and make him a bit of a household name with people. And so having it now be too risky to do when it's the thing that people might have initially come to you for, and this is credit to him, because you know he makes other amazing stuff that people stick around for, and that's what's like. I think that's how you have to look at it, where you're like, look, man, yes, that was the really big, really cool thing that got you here, but now that you're here, let's do all this other cool stuff, and you just make of that, right? And I mean, for a lot of creators, there is an urge to do something different, right? Like I wanted to do another indie fighting game developer roundtable, and I ended up doing the Niche Fighter Fet, and I wanted to do another Niche Fighter Fet, and I ended up writing a magazine, and right, like, and it's funny because now I'm in the process of writing a second issue of Okizine, and now I'm like, really should do that indie game roundtable again. It's been a couple years, so. Sometimes you come back to it, though, and I think with time, especially for something like the J.M. Crofts Jeopardy stuff, with time, having him be able to step away, lets you build up the best of the best, right? You can avoid the second album curse, right? Someone comes out with their first album, they spent 10, 12 years writing all those songs, crafting them, recording them, and then they tour them and they break, and then 6 months later they're like, damn, we got to write another album. I don't have 12 years worth of juice. So taking some time off from it and doing that's actually really cool. So he took apart Cross Counter. I mean, there were a lot of other things that even if Cross Counter worked exactly as how it did, I think they would have lost a lot of us anyways, but fair. But you even saw, like, they did so many things, right? They did the Excellent Adventures, and then they moved on and they tried to do the Cross Counter, like, actual talk show, and it was a live show, right? That was a really interesting thing, with like a live show with like big production value, not me here with my Servbot and a webcam, right? Even when I bust out my Nikon, I'm still here in my basement, right? So yeah, no, 100%. I would love to talk special game format. Big question is, are we talking offline? So, fair. I think there is a discussion to be had for both. My current slate of ideas is to do it online. That is kind of my thing, was online first, right? So much of my community is online, so that is kind of where I would like to go. But always in the back of my head thinking of how could you apply this to a weekly, a monthly, a regional, right? Because I think that could be kind of cool. Start off with pools, stream some of your Street Fighter pools, stream Tekken pools, maybe a bit of Grand Blue, settle in for, right, The Price is Right, or whatever, alternative game format. And then go into your top 16, your whatever the case may be, right? So you might lose a block of pools, you might lose top 16 and have to go rate the top 8 of a game. But it's also something that could bring in an audience, especially if there's some level of audience participation. The auction tournaments at UFGT are always my default for this. Like, when I want to talk about the kind of interesting things you can do, the excitement of watching someone else bid on a character for a tournament is awesome. And like, that gets people going. And then once you're invested in the bidding process, you're then invested in the bracket. And so you stick around for the bracket, and then you're like, you have your favorites. You're rooting for the guy who you gave an extra $5 to so he could get his, whatever, Phoenix Wright in the auction tournament. And then, hey, you're rooting for them and then they lose. And you're like, okay, well, who's my next one, right? Now that my favorite's lost, who is my next dude? Maybe it's one of the villains who's now your favorite because, whatever, they got a cool team. That is kind of the kind of excitement and the kind of community and the kind of attention that you want to capture with some of these special game events, these special formats. Auction events are absolutely amazing. And it is simultaneously high stakes and low stakes. It is actually really awesome, right? Because I think that's it. I think a lot of the silly low stakes things actually requires a lot of specialization, right? Where you could do a, only normals Street Fighter 2 tournament. And that could be a really interesting thing. But it means that you're only really going to get the most, like, you will get the most out of it if you understand the game at a deep level, right? It's about the implications of not having the tools, right? which might be not necessarily. I think it's still I mean, I still think that's a really interesting format. Somebody run that, please. But maybe not necessarily low stakes in the same way that mystery is. So hard to choose a game to run. I'm not a word of a lie. Not a word of a lie. The reason I don't run more tournaments is because I can never frickin' decide on what I want to run. And which is why I also end up running mystery events, because then I don't have to decide. I mean, I have to decide a lot, actually, but I get a wider selection, which works out. Okay, I need to top up my drink, friends. Yo, grab yourselves a snack. Take a little stretch break. I appreciate you joining me here in the digital basement. I'm going to be right back in like 2 seconds. I just got to grab a quick drink of water. Stay hydrated, of course. Yo, exhibitions and money matches. Yo, we might be able to talk about a little bit about money matches. I have not money matched in dog's age. But man, that was... You want to talk about high stakes? You want to talk about really high stakes? Ooh, man, that's some fun. I mean, we got a couple stories, maybe. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why we necessarily aren't seeing it. Yo, all right, yo. Think, guys, think about what is your. I want to hear your money match stories, man. Dude, no, for real. I want to hear your money match stories. I'm sure you've got a couple in there somewhere. Think them through. I'll be back in just a second, friends. Yo, what is up, friends? I'm back. Mr. MKL here. Yo, really? No, I'm surprised. I'm surprised, Dove. I would have thought you'd have a couple money match stories. There was just the casual dude. There was I remember the Marvel 3 days. Okay, so I had a couple relatively big money matches. I mean, nothing like, well, I was like $50 or $100 or something like that over back in the Marvel 3 eras, right? And I played. It's funny, man. So for money matches, I never took a money match that I knew was a sure bet. Like, I was not gonna take a money match against somebody that I'm like, I'm just gonna trounce you 10-0, and I'm gonna walk away. But it seemed that everyone who accepted money matches or challenged me definitely felt like they were gonna fucking 10-0 me, and that's the only reason they did it. So for me, it was interesting. It was a challenge. I was like, I knew I was probably the underdog. I challenged people, and I accepted challenges from people who were better players than me, but on my best day, I could beat them. And then I tried to make it my best day, right? I remember one. Oh, what is his name? Fuck, man. Ducky would remember this dude's name. But it was this, he was a kid. He was a kid, man. Like, oh, jeez. And I remember, like, we sat down at the start. He talked so much shit online leading up to this money match, and it was being streamed at our, like, weekly. I gotta find the VOD for this, man. It was so fucking funny. This dude, we sit down for the match at the start, and he is just like, oh, can I have that seat? And he wanted to, like, swap seats with me, and I was like, sure. I don't really care, right? And I'm there with my buddy who was like my Street Fighter training partner at the time, but he didn't play Marvel, right? And he just looks at me and he's like, dude, whatever, let him have the seat, right? He's like, just focus on your game, right? And so we get into it, and I think he goes up like 5-2, and he starts popping off, right? And he pops off hard, and he stands up, and he takes off his sweater or his jacket, and I remember it, man. He had fucking printed a goddamn t-shirt, and this is why he wanted that one side. He had printed a t-shirt that said free with an arrow pointed to the side. Except, you know what the best part was? This dude asked for the wrong seat. So when he stood up and looked at the camera, it didn't say free and pointed to me. It said free and pointed to his boy. And then he had to, like, turn around and, like, showboat and have it point at me. And he just stood up mid-match. The round is still going. And I stopped playing for a second. And my boy in the corner is just like, Mike, take the combo, right? And I'm just like, oh, yeah, shit. So I take out 2 of his characters, and he realizes this and rushes back, right? So the early pop-off, it was so fucking good, right? So then I'm up, then it's like 5-3, and then it's like 5-4, and then it's 5, and then we're going, right? And I start pulling it back, and we start going back and forth with each other, right? And it gets it, and it was my, and I lost. I hold that L. I lost. I paid up, right? But like, that was such a sweet fucking moment of like, this dude thought he was gonna 10-0 me, and when he was up a few rounds and he was like, oh shit, I'm gonna run away with this, he did the early pop-off, got it wrong, pointed the wrong way, and then almost lost. Dude, absolute moral victory. I took that round, and I was just like, and it fired me up. Dude, it fired me up. I was like, oh, so good. And it was probably the only time. Couple rounds later, once I think I tied it up, I might have gotten the lead on him at that point. And like, and I did. I had my own little pop off, right? Because at that point, he did the early pop off, so I had the like, yo, you're fucking free kind of moment, right? So I got to like get up in his face, right? And it's like, it was fun. It was like, it was super performative. It was very like wrestling, right? Like, we both got into it. He was being a dick about it. I was trying to be a good guy about it beforehand. We both got heated, and we shook hands, and, you know, that was the match. And it was fucking fun. It was entertaining, right? But I think a lot of people don't want to necessarily throw out their $50 or $100, and I respect that. That shit ain't cheap, right? I didn't accept every challenge that came by. Yo, what are you standing up for? Absolutely. The fucking godlike, oh man, the classic Evo moment at this point. Evo moment 48 is what we're gonna call it soon. But man, like, I get it, but people don't want to throw out that money, right? They don't want to put that out there for, and run the risk, right? So a lot of them, you end up with the, yeah, like, unless it's the big names that everyone is like, you have the whatever, Tokido versus whoever, Gachikun versus, right? Like, you have those, Mena RD versus, you know, pick your fave Street Fighter player. So outside of that, are people doing it? No, you're right. It's kind of stopped. It's sad. Nobody wants to do that. Why would you? And I get it, right? Why would you? Why would you give up possibly being embarrassed, possibly losing money, right? So it fell by the wayside. Along with fucking team tournaments of all things. Dude, where are our team tournaments? That kind of makes me sad.
Wait a sec. I thought everything was supposed to be under control here.
Never.
Hey, yeah.
Must be Organization 13 again. We better go see Leon.
Canada Cup. They did, man. They had some of the best team tournaments. There's a lot I'm not... Canada Cup had its problems, don't get me wrong. But that's one thing that they did really damn well. It was always a focal point. Honestly, now that you said Canada Cup, I'm like, oh shit. Is that when it happened? Is that when the team tournaments died? Was it post Canada Cup? It might have been, man. I think the whatever, the limo rides did it in, right? Because that is one thing, man. Like, they paid out the wazoo for those players to compete in those tournaments. Nah, as far as I know, they had the limo debacle. He tried to start a cryptocurrency, Canada Cup bucks or something like that. And then that fizzled out because the fighting game community was like, no. Well, not the fighting game community, but enough people said no. And then he just kind of disappeared. I don't know, he's like a real estate mogul now or some shit. Actually, he was always like a real estate mogul, let's be real. That's how he was able to finance Canada Cup. But yeah, I think that's part of it, is that it got very expensive because the big showpiece team tournaments, I'm pretty sure he was paying to have those people compete. Money is kind of the worst, man. Yeah, ship back to Alberta. Never heard from them since.
He went on over to Ansom's study to find out what all the ruckus was about.
Yeah, no, money. It is the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. It is hard talking about it is hard talking about the dollar bills in the fighting game community. Because I get it. I get it. Like, it does. Capitalism ruins so much. Bringing money into the equation ruins so much. But it is also, like, we can't not, like, we can't pretend that it doesn't cost money to engage in the events and the endeavors that we want to. Because it does. So, what are we going to do about it is the more important question. But that's hard, and that's nuanced.
The MCP's been messing around with the town's control system, too.
Yeah, just attending events is, you're right, it is expensive. And hosting them is crazy. It is so expensive. And I mean, and this is it. So I have helped run events of varying, like, sizes and, you know, purposes. So I understand what it costs to get, you know, find a venue, to have it be properly staffed and equipped with things that you need to do your thing, right? All that important stuff. So, yeah, like, but I haven't run my own fighting game event from top to bottom, from acquiring event and equipment, or like a location and equipment and staffing and all that good stuff. So I am tempted. I am going to. I'm saying it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna host a local event of some fashion. At the very least, just to see, like, what is possible. What are the requirements? Because, like I said, going back a little bit to we have lost sense of the scale of some of our tournaments from monthlies to majors. That perhaps we don't need necessarily all of those things, right? Like, perhaps we don't need the scale if we have the right selection and atmosphere for a smaller group of people who understand the value of it, right? That's always my thing. So, like, because, yeah, man, I would much rather pay, honestly, I'd much rather pay $100 for a 60-person event at an interesting venue that, I don't know, had fucking hors d'oeuvres, than pay $50 for a 300-person tournament at a fucking ballroom with beige walls and, you know, shitty cardboard dividers. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I love all the events that I go to, but it is not for the ambiance, all right? Yeah, no, the money behind it is nutty. I absolutely know. I just getting glimpses from the TOs I've spoken to is horrifying. It is horrifying, right? But I'm also like, I wouldn't necessarily pick the same locations and run the same kind of event that they would. So it's really hard to say, right, how much it would cost me. Evo, I think, is the one event that, even if they weren't purchased by Sony, I think if they were smart enough to bring on Rick the Hado, then they would have been able to make it at least sustainable, right? Like, he's figured it out. He's figured something out with Combo Breaker that at least makes it work. And yeah. I believe with Evo that he would have been able to do it even without it, but certainly fucking helps. Okay, wait a second. I talked to him, but I didn't actually read that. The MCP thingy set the town's defense device that you can't fight back. Just dodge. Okay. You got the impression that sustainability is becoming an issue for Fight Kingdom. There are a lot of things that, yeah, just quietly disappeared. Oh, that's interesting. So, because you said that there was also a drop in... You said there was a drop in, like, spectators. Tron from the computer room. Right? And I wonder, like, is it they saw the reduction in spectators coming, so they dropped investment in various things? Or was it that they... Right? They didn't have those components of the event that the more casual audience was interested in, and so they didn't show up this time. I'd be curious. What's up, Nicole? Here, I'm gonna run away. We gotta go visit the world of Tron. If I can remember how to get there. Last year there were a bunch of free arcade machines in the free play area. Nothing this year. Oh well, yeah. That is a huge draw for casuals. Absolutely. I am once again requesting a giant world map that I can access. Yeah, no, the big arcades, the free play areas, those are really big. But yeah, right? I mean, that's it. It's like someone's gotta provide those things. Like transportation, all that good stuff, right? So yeah, I wonder how... Okay, these guys are just gonna chase me. Let's take care of them. Oh. Oh, no. Not like this. I'm not even sure if these guys are going to be worth the experience, but let's find out. No, 600. Okay, I'll do this because it'll level me up. There you go. Yeah, Rick is doing something with CB and Evo is gaining from that. Yeah, 100%. They are. Evo is definitely benefiting from that experience. I mean, it was a very smart idea for them to hire Rick for Evo, because Evo's reputation was going down, down, down at the time.
Liars!
What?
Leon doesn't have any treasure!
And we fought for you guys.
Donald!
Well, I had to tell him something.
I don't see how we're gonna work this out.
The little pixie Final Fantasy characters has to be one of my favorite things about this game so far. And yeah, Grav, right? That's it. It comes down to like, it's so hard. What do you? It is very expensive and time consuming, and it's like, yeah, a logistical nightmare to arrange the arcade machines and the CRTs and that kind of stuff. That CRT display sounds pretty dope too. Right, but yeah, on the other hand, like you said, if the streaming, the main stage, all that goes better, it's still a better experience for the attendees, and it's a better stream experience, like on a wider scale, which is where you get some of the, you know, that's some of the benefit of your event for a potential sponsor is access to your streaming audience. So, yeah, it kind of stands to reason that that's kind of the direction that they ended up going in.
Told us the whole story. He said your journey's been pretty rough. So it wouldn't really be right if we took your things.
We'll root for you. Here, this is from us.
Bonus.
Bye. Good luck on your journey.
Thanks, ladies. Ooh. Ooh. 100% extra experience? Okay. What are the stats like? Let's see. Oh, wow. That's... I see why this is a thing. Okay. Well then, no. Oh, man. All right. What are we choosing here? I have not apparently been messing with my equipment enough, so. Increases amount of damage dealt from reaction commands. Let's try that.
Yeah.
Final round, always some manner of blow up. Yeah. Respect to Shin Blanca, but the man has problems with an event. There seems to always be something there, doesn't there? Okay, so I mean, that's nice. I got some bonus stuff, but I think I have not gone the correct direction. Alright, Grav. Yo, appreciate you coming by. Take it easy. Have a good night. I'll hit you up to chat about some special game formats at some point. What are we... Oh, wow. 15K. Man, the experience requirements are getting big. Alright. This is definitely not the place to grind. No. Still do it. Yeah, I'd like to head to Atlanta for a tourney. Whoa! I know, it'd be really cool. I really want to... I really want to go to more events. I need to make it out to UMAD. I need to make it out to... God, any number of... We'll see. Maybe I'll finally do CEO when they move out of Daytona. Okay, no, I'm not gonna waste my time fighting that giant dude again. Okay, it's where I've just ended up back here. Did I just not? No, that's the book. I need to go. It's the fucking computer and Ansem study, isn't it? It's the computer and Ansem study. I just have no idea where that is. Wow, camera, please, please now. No, now I can't remember which way I came from. Oh yeah? You just go for the race? No, this is where I came from. Alright. At least I've reoriented myself. Let me try this side. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. You're gonna keep coming after me. Shit, how the hell am I back here? Oh, I am hella lost. Okay, so it's definitely not here. Shoot. Yo, I am notoriously bad at wayfinding. I am, in fairness, I knew I was gonna come back through here because I was like, no, I must have gone the wrong way. And so backtracked. And backtracked to the other direction to realize it was a dead end. Which means, unfortunately, I think I had been going the right way. Every time I stream this game, I do have to remind myself, it is a children's game! Mike! Stop making it more complicated than it has to be. Ow. No, guy, let's just get out of here. Come on. The jump is so... Dude, I am not a fan of the platforming. Come now. It is something else. Alright. If I'm not mistaken... Oh, these dudes. Oh, no. Not this again. Yeah, this is no platformer. That's for dang sure. I hate these guys. These guys in this stupid attack. Oh my god. And with like them bopping me around, and it's like, I remember doing this and being like, it is not easier to fight them. Come on, guys. No, what happened with KH4? Maybe if I just try to take him out here. I'm gonna give it a go. There you go. At least got one of them taken care of. Okay, the big room. Oh god, I hate this area. This is why I didn't return to Hollow Bastion. This is why this is like the last one left. Oh my god, I think I finally found it. I think I finally found it. We have a cutscene. I found it. Yes! Wayfinding, friends. We got there. Project went black, second was announced. Yeah, haven't heard anything about it since, honestly. Looking at the performance of the market for Final Fantasy VII, it's a bit of a worry. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how much the wider RPG market is really going to impact the desire for another Kingdom Hearts game. I'd say their biggest hurdle is actually coming out of Kingdom Hearts 3 and having people be like, okay, it's not what I built up in my head over 12 years, right? So now trying to come out with another one and, I don't know, either meet those expectations or exceed whatever expectations people have. It's a tough hill to climb.
We'll be there soon, Tron.
there's a... Yeah, I don't know, right? How much do you want to... How much do you want to risk? Partly why you see the reboots and shit like that. Not that they don't take any... Not that they're not taking any risks with them, but... At some point, the revisiting something instead of trying to create the next one is a bit of an easier step, where if people don't like the reimagining, you haven't taken away what the other thing is. But if you make the sequel and it's not what they want, you can't undo it being a sequel. Let's go some light cycles.
Finished? Would be, if it weren't for the old loon's magic.
Old loon, you say?
I'm trying to work here.
Oh, I'll show you who's old.
Oh, this bickering old couple.
Done. There you go, Leon. One homemade program. A Looney Wizard special.
This had better work.
I'm off.
Be on your guard.
I mean, I don't know. Is that a PS2 disc? It might not work.
Run!
Careful! Watch out!
Hold on!
Defeat all the Heartless. Okay, I was gonna say, do we actually have to play a game, or are we just gonna beat people up? I guess we're just beating people up today.
Back off!
Ow.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Hey.
It's over. Yeah.
Come on. Take him out. Thank you. Oh. I just got caught up in that attack.
Back off. Yeah. Take this. This is it. This is it. This is it. Yeah.
There we are. Okay, let's work through this. Maybe we'll manage to actually level up enough that I feel like I won't have to... I feel like I'm struggling a little bit less with these challenges, so I think I'm making a bit of progress. Alright, head to the I.O. Tower. Let's do it! Oh, Sid, he's a good guy. You do, you got all the users on your side. Alright, man, you know what? I think now's about a good time. I've made a decent bit of progress. Increased us some levels. Had a nice little chat. Yo, Dove, much appreciated, bud. Thanks for swinging by. But I do believe, yes, I will call it a night. I'm gonna maybe have a nice little hot cup of cocoa and hang out with Mrs. MKL. Like I said, appreciate you coming through for the chat. Take care of yourself out there, and everyone, yo, be nice to each other. It is a weird, wild world out there, and the least we can do is make it a little better for each other. So, be nice to yourself, be nice to each other. Take care, and I will see you later on in the week, possibly tomorrow night in the digital basement here. Until then, peace out.